Hello and welcome to this replay broadcast, guys, brought to you by Rifkin and Zeph. If you find yourself enjoying our casting here today, you can find our Twitters down here at the lower part of the screen. I'm at Riff_Kings, and she is, of course, at IM_Zeph. Now, Zeph, who do we have playing in this game today?
Well, to begin with, up in the top left-hand corner, spawning as the red Zerg, we have EG's LzGaMeR.
Yeah, no longer on EG, actually, I believe at the time of this replay, just a name that has not been changed. Just for the reference of everybody watching. And his opponent spawning opposite of him in the lower right corner of Star Station. It is the blue Protoss. Everyone knows him. It's Grubby. Now, of course, Star Station, one of the newer Heart of the Swarm maps. I don't know. I really like it. The design of it is so cool, and I love the fact that you can see that you're actually moving through space. Like, this is not a static map by any means.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking. I haven't had too much experience on it myself, but I really like how it's really different. You know, it's not like any of the other maps from Wings of Liberty or more recent times with the other HOTS maps as well. It's kind of completely unusual, really. Even the tile set that they've used.
Well, from what I've seen between various Heart of the Swarm casts, is that this map, to me, feels very reminiscent of Antigua Shipyard. The difference being that you can get a fourth base on this map.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's a lot more open though. And the middle isn't such a crucial spot because it's like this donut shape. But yeah, I kind of see what you mean there.
I like that it's open too. A lot of the Heart of the Swarm maps have got these big, wide ramps, huge open engage areas, and it really opens up so many possibilities of not having to fight around that choke. Like, how many times have you fought on Daybreak, you know, not near a particular ramp and be like, okay, well, I lost because I was out of position, right? So
yeah, definitely.
I like that they've changed that up a bit. We'll see how this, I mean, Heart of the Swarm's still new, still just barely coming out of beta. I mean, we'll have to wait and see how the actual maps and the ramps and such affect professional play, but for now, I really like the fact that, you know, much opener spaces.
Yeah, for sure. And it is actually a bit of a longer rush distance cross map. As we can see, the Overlord actually scouted horizontally first, and seeing that the Protoss may not be there, he did actually drone scout across the map. So I actually really like that decision, especially considering that Forge Fast Expand isn't the build anymore in this matchup, and it's kind of important to get in there and know, okay, do you have a gateway or do you have a Forge?
Yeah, I mean, Grubby going gate first, I like it. Getting the Nexus up too, of course, he's not like doing any sort of one base all-ins, but I mean, it's nice that things have changed, because the fact that you get the gateway, you get the Mothership Core, the Protoss have a lot more early game harass. They're not forced to sort of turtle into their natural and do the Forge Fast Expand that everyone's come to know and love for PvZ.
Yeah, definitely. It makes the game a lot more exciting, and it gives Protoss a real opportunity to try some new stuff out. I particularly like the Mothership Core and a couple of units just sent across the map to the Zerg space. It's surprisingly difficult to deal with because you need to have your queens on the Mothership Core, and you've got to be forced to make a few lings, like 4 for the Zealot and a few extra for the Stalker. So it does actually affect the Zerg quite a bit.
Yeah, the Mothership Core, I mean, it doesn't have a lot of damage on its own, but, you know, it can do the recall, it can save a lot of troops, and more importantly, like you said with the Queens, there's not a lot of anti-air early on for the Zerg.
Yeah, you got to make sure that you're on the ball with that and keep it out of your way, but at the same time, you know, that can sometimes force the Zerg to miss an inject or whatever, and that's a dent in their macro that they can't really get back, so it's whatever you can do to the Zerg in the early game, by all means. I mean, it's going to help you out in the long run.
Well, LzGaMeR currently going for that early 3 hatch. I mean, that much hasn't changed as far as fighting Protoss by the looks of it. But I mean, he knew the gateway was up. Let's check his vision. I'm not sure if he got back in for any of the other stuff. No, he has no idea what's coming up, and the fact that there's an early robo could spell out some trouble.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing to note is that, like I mentioned earlier, he scouted cross positions first. I mean, non-cross positions, close air first. Yeah, horizontal. And then, so he doesn't actually have any Overlord's position to sacrifice into the main or the natural. He can't see the gas or anything like that, so he's playing in the dark.
Yeah, Star Station's got a lot of dead airspace behind the bases. This is a map that's perfect for getting Overlords in the position to, even if not sacrifice, but at least, like you said, scout the gas, which can be so crucial when you're fighting a Protoss. I mean, whether they've got 2 gas or 4 gas is the difference between Stargate and High Templar, right? So it's, you know, whatever it is you're going to go for, you got to have knowledge of your opponent. Now, Grubby is moving out with a small attack force, a Stalker, 2 Zealots, and a Mothership Core. I like this. This has kind of become the I don't know, the standard, I guess, as far as Protoss poke goes. It used to be the Zealot Stalker was good enough, but now you've got the extra firepower of the Mothership Core. Why not include it?
Yeah, definitely. And he's brought an observer with it as well, which I love. Can start clearing up that creep, which isn't all that far out anyway. So that's really, really going to hurt the Zerg later on.
Ooh, Grubby getting a stalker caught though. Those speedy lings.
Yeah, that was actually pretty smart by LzGaMeR. He made those lings preemptively, about 10 of them. Oh, it looks like he's going to catch a second stalker.
Oh man, that is not good for Grubby. I mean, stalkers are great because they can just hit and run all day, but I gotta point out, I didn't catch this immediately. We have a Stargate on the way. Following up that Robo, that's, I guess, I don't know if Grubby's doing that as a, I guess, proactive check choice, or if it's like, okay, I just wanted the Observer to, well, go clean up creep.
Yeah. Well, it also gives him some scanning information, but hold that thought, as Grubby comes in here, there's actually quite a few Lings and Queens out to meet him, and it looks like his ground force is going to get cleaned up very quickly, but there's the recall.
Nice use of the recall. I mean, he loses the Zealots, but he keeps the Stalkers and the Observer, and I mean, he can't outrun the Zerglings. Those Stalkers will not run home safe. Now we've got a second Stargate on the way with Oracles in production. I actually really like this because, you know, Oracles are so annoying for harassment's sake. They can just essentially one-shot workers and do so much damage, but LzGaMeR with his Overlord will see at least one of the Stargates. Will he? He does not get to see the second one. Just barely does not see the second one.
Yeah, he sees the extra gates going down too, and he has a Ling at the third, so he knows that a third base hasn't been taken. He's probably going to be a little bit wary right now, like, is there a possibility of me getting all in? Because, I mean, well, being Heart of the Swarm, you don't know exactly what's going to come all the time from what you scouted.
I do like this though. LzGaMeR was, before he even saw the Stargate, he was going Hydras. I mean, he's got the tech going, the muscular augments on the way. It makes him very useful off creep, because right now in Wings of Liberty, Hydralists off creep are kind of just dead units, is what it comes down to. But
yeah.
Now here's the pros and cons of this. Oracles do ridiculous damage to light units. Hydralists do ridiculous fast damage, period. So, I don't know, these Oracles, if they get in a fight with the Hydras, they're going to get picked off real quick, but they'll definitely take some of them down with them. So a really big thing is if Grubby's going to use these for harass on the workers, he's got to keep them alive. He needs these for the Hydralist fight later on.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be tricky. I mean, it's really simple to just accidentally lose your Oracles too, because they're like paper thin. They don't take many hits. So if, say, he commands them to a mineral line, and he doesn't notice and he flies over some Hydras, that's the end of that pretty quickly. So you're right, though. Those Oracles will do a lot of damage to the Hydras.
And Grubby without any scouting information. If he knew how many Hydralists were currently on the field, I'm sure we'd see a Colossus out already. Because right now, the composition that LzGaMeR has, it kind of just dies to Colossus. I haven't seen a big Oracle fight. It's usually people when they make one or two, but with 2 Stargates and 5 Oracles, I'm really excited to see how much damage this could possibly do.
Yeah, well, he's coming in for it, that's for sure. And
I mean,
well,
it's going to get scouted by the creep.
Yeah, it will. Will the Hydras react in time? One gets a couple of shots off, but now he's got to split the Hydras up into the main and maybe keep some of his natural. Oh, there we go.
You're eradicating the workers already, but these Oracles are so low. Like you said, they're paper thin. Immediately going down with one of them, 4 remain, which is really good. Because, I mean, it's, in my opinion, the most key thing to keep these units alive. It's like a medevac when you're going for a drop. You need to keep it alive as a constant threat so that LzGaMeR can't move out of his base without the worry of you getting back in there.
Yeah, definitely. Because right now, I think if he just had a huge amount of this Hydraling as he does and just, like, attacked into Grubby, it would go quite well for him because there's only a few force fields out, and in this big open third area, there's not actually enough to cover him, so he'd have to have, like, some sort of sick position, and his army isn't that just that big, and I mean, we've got how many Hydras coming across the map? 28.
Far too many is how many are coming. Now the Oracles are going back in for more, but the Spore Crawler is up. And unfortunately, oh man, getting transfuses there as well. I mean, this beam, it eradicates light units, but does not do a lot to regular units. So I mean, they take the Spore Crawler down, but the drones evacuate. He hasn't actually killed that many. Meanwhile, the big engage coming in at the third base of Grubby. Some nice force fields, but there's just not enough.
Yep, the Mothership Core goes down, doesn't even get to do a photo and overcharge on the Nexus, and the rest of the units are really struggling against this high DPS to hold this attack off. Will he be able to do it, Rifkin?
I don't know. This is not looking good for Grubby. I mean, most of the Hydras have been cleaned up, but sorry, not Hydralists. Most of the cannons and the Stalkers are cleaned up, but there's not a whole lot of Hydralists left over.
Well, another 6 just joined the fight.
Colossus is in production though.
He's going to be counting on that to come out. He's probably
oh
chronoing
no,
it
but
like
the
no
Oracles!
tomorrow. Oh
Completely
no.
caught on the way back home. They've got a really cool death animation, I have to say. Look at that, the green explosion. But alright, we
Yeah,
got
that's
sentries
cool.
warped in, zealots warped in, guardian shield, force fields. I mean, he needs everything he can get right now. Oh,
Great sort of
mothership
step on
core.
those Hydralisks. Oh no, this is just insult to injury for Grubby at this moment. Everything that comes to help him defend dies almost instantly.
I mean, Hydra's still got some pros and cons to them. One of the pros, really high DPS, as we're seeing right here. Oh, that pylon cancel too. But I mean, one of the big cons is they're very squishy. They have almost no health, 80 health. I mean, a Colossus will mow these down. Grubby now has one out. But there's so many units here, I don't know that it'll matter.
A
And no
few
extended
roaches have
thermal
joined the fight
lance.
too.
Look how fast the Colossus is falling.
Wow. And that is it.
GG comes from Grubby. Alright. That Colossus, poor thing.
Man, that
I'm
was
here. I'm here to help. Nope.